Assalamualaikum. My group will be presenting about business account report from NH Hijab. So let's get started with me introducing my group member. Okay, the first one is Izzati binti Wahid, and the second one is Saidatu Surina binti Saidin, followed by Siti Sarah Aisyah binti Muhammad Afrizal, and me myself Nurul Azrina binti Idris. So for the content of the assignment, so the first one will be background, business characteristic, clarification of item in business, recording process while we are doing this assignment, and then strength and weakness. Okay, let's start with the business background. Okay, the first one is the name of the business is NH Hijab, and they started their business in 2017, and then the business is located at Jalan KL nearby LRT Masjid Jamek. And then they started their business with the capital of RM 30,000 cash, and then NS Hijab is selling a hijab, clothes and telekong. So they take stock directly from Vietnam, and then the type of the business is sole proprietorship, which the business operate every day from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. and then it close on special occasions such as Hari Raya, Chinese New Year and Deepawali.
Next, I'm going to explain about the business characteristic of sole proprietorship for NH Hijab. For the first characteristic is registration. As a sole proprietorship, NH Hijab registered under Suruhanjaya Malaysia, which is SSM, to run their business. Second, in terms of capital, NH Hijab capital contributed by the owner named Afrizal bin Nasrul. The business opening capital is started with 30,000 ringgit, come from owner personal saving, and brought in a second-hand car, amounted 20,000 ringgit. Next, for ownership. NH Hijab is owned by one person, which is Encik Afrizal bin Nasrul. The business also controlled and managed by the owner itself, as stated at point number 4. For liability, NH Hijab type of liability is unlimited liability, since this type of company is a sole proprietorship, which means the owner personally liable for all the debts of the business, but if the owner gain profit, the profit is all owned by itself. Next, for profit or loss, the owner will take all the profit or loss after deducting explicit cost of running the business, and his staff will receive salary every month from him. Lastly, for book and account, there is no legal obligation to keep books and prepare accounts. Let's move to the business classification for this company. There are two types of asset, which is non-current asset and current asset. Non-current asset are physical items which have long-term investment, and the item is last over a year and have financial value to a company. Non-current asset cannot be converted into cash easily. For instance, non-current asset for NH Hijab is second-hand car, equipment, and fittings. Current asset defined as something that can be quickly converted into cash. The more the current asset a business has, the better. This means they can survive longer without borrowing money. For NH Hijab, their current assets are inventories, cash in hand, and bank. Next is expenses. In accounting, expenses are the cost of assets consumed or services used in the process of earning income. For NH Hijab, their expenses are electricity and water bills, purchases of goods, salaries, and rent expenses. In sole proprietorship company, the capital is contributed by the owner itself to start their business. For NH Hijab, Encik Afrizal has brought in his second-hand vehicle and used his own saving for their capital. Next, revenue. Revenue represents the gross increase in owner's equity. For this company, their revenue is sales of their products. Last but not least is liability. Current liability, also known as short-term liability, that need to be paid back within a year. The current liability for NH Hijab are account payable fabric material which NJ Afrizal has purchased on credit to buy their fabrics material from their supplier. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
To continue for the recording process part. So as we know that in every business should be start the accounting process first. What is accounting process? It is to identifying the transaction that are happen in the business, which is it is essential in order to reflect in the final statement. There's a few steps that the business owner may perform in recording. First, it starts with the business transaction that other details will be taken by the source document of the business itself. There's a variety type of source document where it's depending on the type of transaction that are happen. So in every business must have their own source of document, which it include the details of the transaction done by them. For the NH Hijab business, the owner have stated by the previous interview that they only use a certain type of source document, which is invoice, transactions receipt, and bank statement. So then, from the source document, it needs to be classified and recorded with the appropriate books of prime entry. Some of journal that we may encounter is general journal. It is a book of raw business transaction where it's recorded in chronological order by date. It is the first place a transaction is recorded, where the amounts are then posted into the appropriate accounts such as account receivables, cash accounts, or asset accounts. Secondly is purchase journal. It is a specialized accounting journal and it's also a prime entry book or main entry book, which is used in an accounting system to keep track of the orders of items placed using by the accounts of payable. Thirdly is sales journal. The sales journal is used to record all of the company's sales on a credit. Most often these sales are made up of the inventory sales or other merchandise sales. Notice that only credit sales of inventory and merchandise items are recorded in the sales journal. Cash sales of inventory are recorded in the cash receipt journal. Last but not least is a cash payment journal, which is a journal that used to record transactions that are paid in the form of cash. A cash payment can include paying a creditor or commission fee, making an interest payment, or withdrawing a cash. If any payment is made using a cash, it is recorded in the cash payment journal. This is to keep in avoiding misstating any kind of transaction for NH Hijab businesses, as per owner stated that she didn't keep the recording in a appropriate way since they didn't hire any accountants to manage, and it's normally managed by her own self, which is by using by her own notebook. After all the transactions have been recorded in the journals, next is it will be recorded to the appropriate accounts in a ledger. An accounting ledger is an account or record used to store bookkeeping entries for balance sheet and income statements transaction. Accounting ledger journal entries can include accounts like cash, account receivable, investment, inventory, accounts payable, accrued expenses, and also a customer's deposit. Usually, at the end of the month or accounting period, there's a trial balance need to be prepared for. This is to know whether the transaction before have been recorded correctly or not in the book of account. So there will be adjustment need to be made if there any error occur. It also made at the end of the accounting period for accruals and prepayments of the revenue and also expenses. So for the last step is the financial statement that can be prepared where it is include the statements of profit or loss. This is to see whether our business is having a profit or loss within the accounting period or within the month, and the statements of financial position. So for the NH Hijab's business, as what have been presented by the owner, they not prepared any trial balance, ledger, and also financial statement for their recording.
Assalamualaikum, I'm Surina. Will continue the presentation today. During the recording process, we identify that the owner and his hijab will be confronted with a variety of strength and weakness. First, let us talk about strength. We'll start with strength. The key to success in this business is decision making. Decision making will be the easier for business when there is a true recording financial transaction. Accounting information allow management to schedule in future plan, budget, and organize in activities. The owner can make their own decision without make any discussion from anyone for approval. Next is NH Hijab make filing to sources document like invoice, bank statement, and receipt. The owner will keep all their document after they have been recorded. That will make it easier for them in future to find the document if there are any mistake in the future. From the recording process, bank statements are used to trace their business operation. The owner can identify the mistake and unlawful transaction by using the bank statement. They can determine how much money in and money out by each looking to the transaction at bank statement. The other strength is maintenance of business record that can help owner to record all financial transactions with systematically in the account book. The owner cannot remember anything transaction without recording at notebook, because if we record to the account book, we can identify that all transactions have done. Now we move to the weaknesses. The first is about knowledge of business accounting. We identify that the owner lack of accounting knowledge in this instance. This will result in the business losing of money in a situation that the owner is unaware of, and also as well as a reduction in their cash flow. The weaknesses from the recording process we identify since the business was established a few months ago. The recording that they use is not yet complete. From the interview session that we identify, the owner only understand how to calculate the profit after they done calculate their revenue and their expenses, such as after they done calculate their wages, utilities, and rent. The accounting information may be biased. This is other weaknesses for the recording process. This is because of the recording person may use various methods which is may not a correct way. Hence, the profit might be inaccurate due to lack of objectivity. Besides that, the preparation of financial statements such as like profit and loss or balance sheet can be prepared well due to the lack of information to transfer. This may cause a hiccup to a good recording process of the business and his hijab. Last but not least, for the weaknesses, this business did not use any accounting system to complete their accounting process, which can cause them to take a long time to complete their accounting. It is also can be the recording error. That's all for me. Thank you.